Today on One, your daily dose of local affairs and social media commentary.
Today on One, we will continue supporting Itula, says Henk Mudge. ICT Minister says broadband can transform health and education sectors. Vandalism of City of Windhoek property condemned. And Johnny Duisep launches 5-pillar NFA election manifesto.
The president of the Republican Party, Henk Mudge, has vowed that his party will continue to support the independent presidential candidate Panduleni Itula in his attempt to challenge the Supreme Court judgment on the presidential election challenge. Itula and several presidential candidates from the opposition parties, which include the Republican Party and the Popular Democratic Movement, recently failed in their bid to have the results of the 2019 elections nullified by the Supreme Court. Henk Mudge, who ran as the presidential candidate of the RP party, stressed that he will continue to support Itula in his renewed attempt to take on the Supreme Court judgment.
It is shocking to see in what condition some of these settlements in towns, and especially Windhoek and basically all the other towns are, and 30 years after independence, and they want to tell us that they can't do something about it. They could, but unfortunately, the looting and stealing and corruption was so rife that the people focused on that rather than to see what the people need, and our people, the poor people, the youth, need in this country. So I think they're going to see this by the end of the year, but we pray that we will get some good relief from the court with this new challenge of Dr. Itula, because that is what we need. We need a new government. We need a new president, and we need a new government. And this is what the people say. It's not what I'm saying. I agree with that, but this is what the people in Namibia say all over. And I think that must be respected. And I truly hope for that reason that Dr. Itula is going to. We will support him all the way. And I've supported him and I will keep on supporting him. But I hope he's going to be successful.
Meanwhile, Frederico Links, a research associate at the Institute for Public Policy Research, criticized the Electoral Commission of Namibia for not officially announcing the latest results of the 2019 elections, which allegedly changed a week after the official results were made public by the electoral body in November last year.
In the week after the elections, some discrepancy regarding the Windhoek rural results, changing where the votes that had initially been given to the UDF candidate, Augap, were then given to the independent candidate, Itula. And this changed percentages for both Itula and Augap, pushed Itula over 30%. Or just sort of fractionally over 30%, and it influenced Augap's percentages, and it changed various others as well. I think the overall as well in terms of some of the other candidates. So that changed the result, and this happened after the results were announced officially on the 30th of November. The results then were changed by the ECN on the website on the results portal. But there was never an official announcement again about these changed results, because these results would now be the official results of the election, the presidential election. So we've not had an official announcement of this now. And we just heard the president as well refer to this 29% for Itula and so on. But this has changed in the official results. So we're basically in a situation where the official result, is questionable, and you can actually say, we don't actually have an official result now at this stage as we're standing here, more than 2 months after the elections.
Links also stressed that Itula's attempt to take on the Supreme Court's final verdict will not be successful, as they have failed to demonstrate concrete evidence of actual rigging during the elections in their first appeal.
Baby, you know how things have slowed down between us?
Sure.
I think it's time we spice things up.
For real?
How about we add 4 hotties to the mix?
4.
Each.
Things are heating up at Hungry Lion with 4 Zamba spicy winglets and chips for only $22.90.
Hungry like a lion.
The Ministry of Information and Communication Technology launched the National Broadband Policy and also introduced the committee members that will oversee the implementation of the action plan. At the occasion, Minister Stanley Simata highlighted the immense benefits that can come from broadband to the economy and social well-being of the country. Broadband is defined as the high-speed internet access on several transmission technologies. Currently, Namibia's internet speed is limited to 2 megabytes. A speed the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology is hoping will increase as it is far behind other African countries. At the launch of the National Broadband Policy and Steering Committee members, Simata emphasized on how broadband can transform key sectors such as health and education in the country.
Did you sit down and ask yourself the question, how did Rwanda succeed to provide all their learners with iPads? When we provide iPads, to parliamentarians, you create a story for Simata out of that. Yes. You create a story for Simata out of that. But you fail to ask yourself, really given the stage at which we are, this is the way to go. So corporate Namibia, I am challenging you. By the way, you are the ones who benefits from the products of the education system. And therefore, you need to invest in the education system. And with a well-developed broadband infrastructure, the doctors in Katima, wherever you are, will be able to conduct whatever operation you need to conduct. In many other societies, populations are aging. They cannot. They are using technology to access all these services.
Simata said failure should not be an option for the steering committee that will be led by Johan Schnoer as its chairperson. Schnoer, who is currently employed by NAMPO, said that they will deliver on their mandate.
The next steps would be to establish the terms of reference, how we operate and why, and then assess the current situation, current overview of where we are in Namibia with regards to broadband. I have not seen a summary yet. I get pockets from the industry, but not a summary per se. So that will be one of the first things that we need to establish. I will try everything in my endeavor to not let you down. Understand the words and the weight of this responsible position. It's a first for Namibia, very important initiative. So we will not be taking this lightly at all.
Other committee members are Monica Nehemia, the vice chairperson, Milton Low, Girma Tadesi, Colin Moatile Hangula, Philemon Johannes, Ronel Legrange, Daniel Zaire, Lucas Shuya, Johan van Wyk, and Edward Ngwathe Twapo Nepolo.
I've booked your shower, sir.
Bringing the world together through Dubai. Fly Emirates, fly better.
The City of Windhoek is calling on members of the public to refrain from vandalizing public properties, as according to them, they are doing their best to keep the city with lights, clean bus stops, beautiful parks and proper infrastructure. Today on One recently sat down with the Corporate Communications, Marketing and Public Participation Manager of the City of Windhoek to find out the core root of vandalism of properties around the city.
The whole residence. We need a total mind shift. In other words, a paradigm shift, another way of thinking, another way of doing things. Because I don't know how the city should get into the cognitive minds of the residents out there with regard to vandalizing the properties. But I think the best way is probably education. We have to pump in more and more education to our residents. I remember once, as I've told you before, that I've witnessed somebody taking a stone, throwing at the traffic light, and stating that that's my tax money. I can vandalize it any way I want. And on the other hand, it's also on hindsight. We've actually supplied communal toilets and taps to our communities, especially on the northwest region of Windhoek. The same people that we give these services are the same people who vandalize them. You'll find the toilet vandalized in terms of a toilet pot is stolen. The door is stolen of the toilet. And the same people demand or says that we don't supply them with services. And tomorrow is the same people coming back and say we need more services while we have to service or repair those that have broken. So when do they expect us to come and give them new services? So it's just a matter of trying to educate our residents out there that whatever the city gives to you as a service, be it water, be it communal toilets and so on, it's the onus is on them to look after those properties and to care for them because they're the one using it, they're the one who needs it most.
Apwenya further said that vandalizing of properties is a finable crime and community members should report such acts.
People that vandalize are known by the communities, but the communities are afraid to say John or Paulus did that. So as long as you give us the name and we can apprehend the person, it's actually a criminal offense. Those people will be locked up and will be charged actually. So it's a matter of the communities looking after their own properties, and if they know that a certain person vandalized that property, report the person and the city will act through the city police. Especially in the informal settlements, as soon as a leaking toilet or a toilet that was vandalized is reported, given the limited resources that we have, we try and speed up the process in order to repair those toilets, because those toilets are actually used by a lot of people. So we can't let the people go out and relieve themselves where we don't want that. I wouldn't want to go also. So as soon as it's reported, we make it a priority in order for us to repair those toilets or so on.
Community members around the city of Windhoek are urged to meet the city halfway and keep the city clean and intact with whatever little service they have at the moment and refrain from damaging already serviced properties and infrastructure.
Hello and welcome to Sport Africa. The BBC's new weekly show will explore the big sporting issues and questions, like why Africans aren't winning medals in the pool.
I just think it's their mindset.
Meeting established and rising stars.
I could be the Nigerian first Grand Slam winner.
And at the heart of it will be you, the fans, with your passion, your opinions, your stories, and even tests of your sporting knowledge. Go beyond the game with BBC Sport Africa.
With the much-anticipated Football Congress a few days away, at which a new board for the Namibia Football Association will be selected to lead football in Namibia, presidential candidate Johnny Dwoseb launched his election manifesto that includes 5 key pillars of action. Former Namibia Premier League chairperson Johnny Dwoseb has promised to have a national football indaba which will allow stakeholders to discuss football matters such as grassroots football development and financial management.
Change and development. I will propose a stakeholder engagement, meaning I will have a national football indaba to discuss pertinent football matters, including the funding challenges. I will create participation of all ages and genders on grassroots football, which remains the cornerstone of development, because without grassroots development, there will be no development of football in this country, because you need to graduate from grassroots to the upper level. I will increase expertise in elite grassroots development of football, because it's very much important that we need to have skilled people, because when we are talking of development, development goes with skills. If you don't have skills at the grassroots level, it means that we are going to fail our children, and that's the cornerstone of Namibia. And NFA responsibility is to make sure that football development takes place in all the corners of this country. North, west, east, south, very important. I will expand infrastructure and distribution of football material, football pitches, balls, kits to play football that are needed across this country, because without resources, without material, training material, it's of no use we have expertise, it's of no use we have got infrastructure. What are you going to use to train these kids? Investing in referee training, because it's very much important. Referee training and development and creating opportunities to expose our referees to the international standard is very important, because they play an important role, an integral part of the development of the game. I will prioritize the implementation of club licensing system within the leagues. It's very much important that FIFA and CAF is moving to a next level, whereby they are saying that clubs need to comply with certain standards within the globe. Global standards have been set, continental, regional structures have been set, but when it comes to Namibia, when are we going to do that? That's why we are saying infrastructure development is very key.
Duoseb is also promising change within the leadership in the fourth pillar of his manifesto, where he pledges to restore the image of the NFA.
I want to restore the credibility and the image of NFA with a real change in leadership and take necessary steps to create a modern NFA worthy of the public trust. Public trust is very much important, because currently the narrative about football in this country is very low. The narrative of people, the football fraternity, the stakeholder, is so discouraging that nobody from the corporates wants to be part and associated with the football. How do we do this? It's because you need to change that narrative of leadership. And I will lead by example with the highest ethical and moral values, because it's very much important that moral values and standards must form part of the leadership. NFA should also take on board the opinions and views of football fans, very much important. Currently, we are excluding the views of the football fans. But when Brave Warriors played, or our teams played at different league levels, we are expecting fans to pack the stadiums. Hence, we are excluding their views when we are making decisions. What am I going to do? I will therefore set up mechanisms to give football-loving fans the opportunity to finally also have their say on NFA priorities by setting up social media platforms and formal platforms where fans can share their views and opinions directly with the NFA, because they matter.
The manifesto has 5 pillars of action as he vows to restore the love of the game, create a winning mentality, and a good corporate governance. The NFA Football Congress is set to take place in Windhoek on the 22nd of February 2020 at the Safari Court Hotel.
It's a waste for just one drink. A man in Uganda wanted an alternative to plastic straws and came up with a simple, natural, traditional solution.
These straws, long ago our ancestors used them for drinking the local brews called amalua.
Akram Semambo's business started 4 months ago and is doing very well.
In other leading stories, as part of Transnamib's long-term strategy to develop a passenger train service for various train routes in Namibia, the company reintroduced a passenger train to the north of Namibia during the 2019 festive period. This service was interrupted for a period of 10 years while critical maintenance was performed on the rail track with an investment of more than $1 billion by the Ministry of Works and Transport on the line between Kransberg and Tsumeb. This exercise has allowed Transnamib to see how the company can improve the service in order to start introducing the service during peak season, such as the Easter weekend, to provide an alternative means of transport as a safe and affordable option to customers who want to travel between Windhoek and the north of Namibia. During the period from the end of November 2019 to mid-January 2020, more than 1,000 passengers boarded the train from Windhoek and Walvis Bay to the north of Namibia.
Welcome to Comments Corner, your daily dose of local comments from the hottest social media pages. The Namibia Transport and Taxi Union NTTU held a peaceful demonstration at the Ministry of Works and Transport to hand over a memorandum. The union complained that foreign shuttle drivers who operate between Hosea Kutako International Airport and Windhoek should stop operations as they are stealing bread from the mouth of local drivers. Tony said the contribution of Windhoek taxi drivers to the economy is immense and therefore their grievances should not be taken lightly. Freddy said it will make no difference in reducing the number of foreign drivers. He suggests that focus be placed on reviving the economy instead. Opa said regardless of the issues, there is tremendous chaos at the international airport with shuttle drivers often quarreling in front of clients that just landed. Victor said if this is true, then the government is not serious at all. While Bernard said many go for foreign drivers because hiring a Namibian will result in your car being abused before they move on to the next owner. The affirmative repositioning movement branded government as ignorant and not moved by the high rate of youth suffering due to unemployment and poverty that has become a norm in the Namibian society. Thus, the AR deemed it necessary to engage the youth on plans of the AR towards reaching the economic freedom and restoration of human dignity. Linda salutes the affirmative repositioning movement leader. Pala said job opportunities are also nowhere to be found. Sequoia said locals like to copy the style of South African politician Julius Malema, not realizing that the neighboring country is more advanced and unless you can provide a job to someone, the effort is meaningless. To Lapazi, this is the sad truth and said unemployment should be reduced because it is leading to poverty. While Lucas said job is his hero. And that is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today and One.
From Cape to Cairo, Accra to Antananarivo, there are millions of people just like you trying to make a living to make money. And there's no magic way to get rich quick, unless you're Aliko Dangote. You're not Aliko Dangote, are you? No? Well, perhaps we can help you get a little further along the way. With BBC reporters all over Africa, we find the stories, the successes, and the startups that will help you make the most of your money. This is Smart Money.
Haita hola hos, this is The Tribe, taking Namibian music to the next level. We love to touch base with Namibian artists and fall in love with epic tunes and authentic differences. My name is Shea Ulenga, and you can catch me every single week with your weekly fix-up of The Tribe.
A look at the weather forecast. First, an advisory from the Windhoek Met Office. Heavy storms are expected over the Kavango, Zambezi, Otjozondjupa, Omaheke, Khomas and Hartap regions at places tomorrow and on Wednesday, so please do take the necessary precautions. The Namibia interior partly cloudy and hot in the extreme northwest, parts of the central northern areas and the west, elsewhere partly cloudy and warm to hot with isolated to scattered thunder showers but widespread thunder showers at places over the Kavango, Zambezi, Otjozondjupa, Omaheke, Hartap and Khomas regions. Windy weather will prevail in the interior.